Morning, everybody. I want to talk about something that is a bit of a curse word to a lot of people, and that's a budget. A budget is very important in creating a blueprint for your financial life. Without one, you're pretty much walking around blind. How many of you out there have gotten to tax season every year and you look at the numbers and you're like, where did all that money go? I have no idea. Well, that's because you're not tracking your money. When you have a budget, you get to the end of the year and you have a little bit more confidence of where that money goes. You can tell yourself that, hey, I know this amount of money a month went towards my groceries, this amount of money went towards my mortgage, this amount of money went towards my cars and gas. These are the type of things you learn when you consistently carry a budget. But more importantly, something I learned a couple years ago, well, about 6 or 7 years ago when I decided to start budgeting myself, was that money makes a great servant, but it makes a horrible master. And what I mean by that is that if you tell money what to do, it'll do exactly what you tell it to do. But if you don't, and you don't have a budget, and you go month to month, just quote unquote winging it, your money will end up wherever it wants to. It's not, if you don't tell it what to do, it'll do whatever it wants to. And before you know, you'll look up and it'll be gone. It's kind of like parenting a kid. You don't give him specific instructions. A kid may turn up being gone. You got to make boundaries for your money the same way you make boundaries for your children. Maybe a bad analogy, but bear with me. So a zero-based budget is actually very, very simple. And people have a huge misconception of budgets. They consider them as restrictive. But in reality, a budget actually gives you freedom while still maintaining the goals in what you have. See, the problem with not keeping a budget is though even though you have goals, as we talked about in my very first post when we talking about the difference between dreams and wishes, the difference between a dream and a wish is a plan. And so without a budget, you don't really have a plan. You may have a dream and you may have, well, as we categorize it, it would be considered a wish. But if you want to turn that into a dream, you need a plan. If you want a plan, you've got to have a budget. A budget is the blueprint of your finances month to month. For instance, we've been talking a lot about retirement. Well, the first step, we've talked about retirement in itself, but that's kind of the end result of how we manage our finances. Because the first thing we need to do is find out where our money's going every month and see how much money we can squeeze out of our monthly funds to invest. If we don't know how much to invest, we can never get started. And so for a lot of people, this is the hang up, is that a budget is like a curse word. They think that a budget's going to restrict them, it's going to keep them from doing what they want. But in reality, when you put it into practice, it does the exact opposite. A budget allows you to do a lot of things. A budget allows you to take that vacation without guilt. That budget allows you to go into Christmas without any guilt. And let's stop with this being forgetting about Christmas. Last I checked, Christmas comes the same month every year. This is no surprise. We got to start preparing for it. And a budget will help you do that because every month you'll be sitting down, the end of every month, you'll be sitting down and you'll be thinking about, okay, what expenses do I have coming? And when you have that proactive thinking, it allows you the time and the opportunity to start preparing for stuff like Christmas and birthdays and even small things like haircuts and etc. Me and my wife, around the 25th of every month, it's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'll send her a text and say, hey, what expenses do I need to concern myself with next month, small and large? And she'll start naming off birthdays, and she'll start naming off, she has a haircut appointment. God forbid, don't let her miss a haircut appointment. But yeah, so all that stuff is mentioned at the end of a month so we can prepare for the next month. So as you can see, although it may not be fun except for geeks like me, but it is very, very important in order for us to get a blueprint of what we're going to do with our money every month. And once we have that, knowledge is power. Once you have that, you have a good idea not only where your money's going, but you start to get a good feel for how your month, in the middle of your month, you'll start understanding just by your spending habits where you're at without even looking at your bank account. Just by your spending habits, you can get a feel for where you're at. I check my bank account probably twice a week, where before I was checking it 7 times a week, because I have created habits now, and those habits have kept me true to my budget. And so, but going back to creating a plan before the month starts, when you do this, you can allocate. You're looking at a big lump sum of your money. Okay, let's back up. A zero-based budget. You take all your income. So take a little bit of homework. You're going to have to look into this, find out approximately. I know our checks may be a little bit different week to week, but approximately how much our income is, plus our spouse's income, and our total income for that month needs to go to the top of the page. Okay? And then we need to start spending that money down the page until the money's gone. It's quite that simple. A zero-based budget. Don't get to the end of your budget and say, hey, great news, I have $400 left. No, $400 got to be spent somewhere. Now, whether it's spent on bills, or whether it's put in a savings account, or whether it's put into your IRA, I don't care where it's put. There's positive things to put it in, but it needs to be accounted for. You got to tell that money what to do. If you don't, it'll be gone. If you don't allocate that $400, it'll be a pair of shoes here. It'll be a $50 dinner there. It'll be, you name it. You know, the nature of us as Americans, and you can see it in where where the debt is in our country. Our nature is that there's money to spend, we can find something to do with it. We'll spend it somewhere. So, guys, we got to be intentional. We got to start telling our money what to do every month. And once we start doing this, now it's going to be hard for a couple months, but once we start doing this, we're going to start really getting a feeling for our spending habits, and then we can really start getting serious about naming a number to how much we can put towards our retirement. So if you're interested in jumping into creating a budget or just filling around a little bit, the budget tool that I use is one that Dave Ramsey and his team has created called EveryDollar. You can access it at everydollar.com. It's so easy. It's the most amazingly easy budgeting tool I've ever used, and it's available on the PC as well as on Apple and Google. So you can access them on your mobile devices as well. And again, you're just going to pop in your income, and that's where you start. And then you start going down the list of priorities of all your bills every month, everything, every single thing. And you just start spending that money until you get to zero. And you'll be amazed what you'll learn about your bills, your spending habits, how much money you're spending in debt every month. That'll be an eye-opener. It's funny when we think about it, when we just keep it in our minds, we don't really understand the level of debt that we have until we actually put it on paper and realize how much we're sending out every month. And if that debt was gone, how much money would be staying in our house to do these things like save for vacations and Christmas and retirement. So dig in at everydollar.com. Check it out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you. Have a good day.